Well, good morning, and welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Reverend Karen Lewis, and it is my joy to be here with each and every one of you here today. You know, I love coming to this place. I do. I do. I do. I love the way the music supports the message. As a matter of fact, in 20 minutes, you're going to say, Karen, you didn't even have to speak. You could have just said, listen to Cerise. If we say yes, God says, there it is. We're not going to do that, though. I love the conversations that are going on in this community. I love how we come together to connect with one another, to lift each other up into the realm where we know that if we say yes, everything is possible. Because we live in an infinite universe. And that is the conversation that I hear in the breezeway over Munch and Mingle, at that amazing Taste of NVC cook-off we had on Friday. Yes, yes, yes. I think we're going to share the winners a little later for that. And I see it everywhere. I ran into someone while I was out with my daughter, with my granddaughter, and I ran into someone, and they're having conversation. There's this big circle that grows bigger and bigger and bigger, and I love it. I love it. And I have been to other New Vision, not New Vision, but Centers for Spiritual Living communities, and I just really, really like this one. And here. So before we get started, I would love for all of us to take a moment and just look around, just see who is with you on this journey. Just take a look around, see people that you haven't seen before, smile. I'm going to send some smiles out into those on the other side of that camera. Yes, into the world. And as we anchor today and as we take a look at the principles of successful living as they are taught to us and shared with us by Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, I want all of us to keep in mind that while this is a very, very individual experience, those of us who are around the person who's doing the work can be so supportive, can make such a big difference. I woke up last night in the middle of the night and I thought, oh, it's like a birthing center, you know? Yes, listen, hear me out, Marty. You know, when a woman is ready to give birth, there's that moment where you realize you're doing this by yourself. But all of the people around are there for great support. And it's the same here because we are birthing forth our successful living, our next great expression. We are birthing forth songs and books and relationships and new job opportunities and goals that we want to reach individually and as a community. Are we not? Yes, we're birthing it forth. So while we can be very supportive of one another, at the end of the day, it is really our work. It's really our work, our individual work. There's a part of this that is just mine to do. And that is the truth for every person. And it is so helpful to have support, is it not? It is so helpful to come together on a Sunday morning with beloveds who believe that if we say yes, God says yes. If we say yes, our life works better. You know, when I found this teaching 12 years ago, there were moments in my in that time, during that time, where I think I actually said it out loud to Dr. Reverend Michelle Madrano, who was my spiritual teacher, and I said, I think you saved my life. I think you saved my life. And it is fascinating to me to have people come to me and say that. And it is tempting. It is so tempting to say, you're welcome. But we know that is not the truth. It might be that I say something or somebody sees something in me that reminds them of themselves, of their struggle or their triumph, and it helps on this path. But at the end of the day, who has to make use of what I'm saying? You, the individual, the one who wants to change their life. I love to think about us as spiritual leaders, which each and every one of us is a spiritual leader. Would you agree? Yes. I didn't realize I'm going to blind you. I often think about us as holding up a mirror and shining a light. I'm sorry. That didn't work. But that is what we do, right? So we hold up the mirror. I'm going to put the mirror down. We hold up the mirror and we shine the light. When someone comes to us in the midst of chaos in their life, we hold up the light because we know we have experienced that this teaching has the power to change our lives if we use it. If we use it. You know that over the years, tens of thousands of people have come to the New Vision Center, have heard these messages, have felt the vibration. Some stayed, and others didn't. They didn't resonate with the message, or they thought, that is not real. People who are that happy, that is not reality. And yet it's a choice, is it not? We all live in the same world. We all have the same challenges all around us. And yet there's something within us that has made a decision to focus on the good, to focus on love, to direct our thoughts to that which we want to create in our lives. If there's one thing you take away from today's talk, it's this. Discipline the cause, it will discipline the effect. Now, what does that mean? We believe that we live in a universe that operates by the law of cause and effect. When we say discipline the cause, that means direct your thoughts to that which you want to experience in your life. Let go of worrying, talking about, thinking about, fretting about that which you don't want. And it's not easy. And you know how you can tell that you have mastered it? It's if the effects align with what it is that you want to have in your life. if we learn to direct our thoughts to that which we want to experience, and diligently say no to that which we might be very afraid of, that what we don't want in our life. The discipline is inside. That is our work. This wonderful teaching can help us, right? This wonderful teaching can give us the tools of spiritual mind treatment, of learning how to use affirmations, of contemplating that which we want to bring forth. But at the end of the day, you have to pick up the tools. You have to do it. Just this last year alone, we probably had 100 people who came for the first time to the New Vision Center. Many of them were just traveling through. Many of them stayed, and many chose not to. And I would really like to come to a point where we can say, then that's okay. That's okay. This teaching is not for everyone. Because this teaching demands of us more than anything else. It demands of us to let go of the things that don't serve us any longer. And that is a tall order. That is a tall order. We are in this series of getting back to the basics of this teaching. And we are in chapter 18 for today's talk, and that is called The Principles of Successful Living. And I love this part of the textbook because it talks about our power. It talks about that we have dominion over our life. The next chapters are the law of attraction and mental equivalence, which are great chapters, but I particularly like this one. Because it gives us all the tools. And I think what it calls for is a realization that when we say that we can control the conditions in our life, that means really just our life. It does not mean the neighbor's life. It does not mean my ex-husband's life, or the employer, or the government, or the, you fill in your blank, right? It truly means that I have control over my conditions, how I experience this thing that comes towards me. And the more that I learn to direct my thoughts, the more aligned is that which I will see outside in the world. And I can say that with such conviction because that is exactly what happened to me because of this teaching. I found this teaching at a time where I did not connect with my inner value. I didn't know my worth. And that showed up in people taking advantage of me on the outside. And I had to come to a place to let go of blaming because it was so obvious, right? My girlfriends all agreed with me. It was very obvious. That was the problem. And it wasn't until I found this teaching that I realized that the challenge was really in me. I did not recognize my own value. I did not recognize that I was good enough. Ernest Holmes says, one of the slides, man must become more if he wishes to draw a greater good into his life. And of course, we know that was written a long time ago. This really means I. Let's read it in the I voice. I must become more if I wish to draw a greater good into my life. Yeah. Often at this point, there comes the Reverend Karen, you don't know what I have done. Or you don't know what has been done to me. I want to make this very, very clear. It matters not. Right now, this now moment is the only moment we have anyway. At this moment, it doesn't matter what happened before. In this moment, we can make the choice, the decision to start anew. And it's either a pulling of our vision that pulls us forward so clearly, or it's a pushing of such discomfort and pain that makes us come to this point. But it is up to us. It is up to us. A couple of weeks ago, 29 beloveds came together and we all visioned for our 2020, what we wanted to experience in 2020. And some of them I asked to send us the representations of their vision boards. And so we just wanted to show a couple of them. And it is these beloveds that have taken a stand to say, I am going to take dominion over my life. Right now, this is the time, this is the place. Enough. Some people join classes. We just started foundations class. 10 weeks of constant invitation. What is yours to do? What is yours to let go of? Let's breathe into that. Carl Rogers says, what I am is good enough if I would only be it openly. Who I am, who you are, is good enough. If we only would be it openly. Because, here's a little secret. We believe in oneness. The things we think we hide so well from another, yeah, we know. We know. We can tell when someone is struggling. We can tell when someone is feeling ashamed for something that they've done. We can tell. And if we as individuals would give us permission to let go of trying to hide behind the mask, we could get about the work of changing our life because it would free up all that energy. There will always be teachers who bless us with the light, with shining the light when we can't see it. It might be a minister, it might be a practitioner, it might be a trusted friend. At the end of the day, it is us who has to do the work. I would like to close with this reading from this wonderful book, 365, Science of Mind. It's actually today's reading. Listen to these words that Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote at the beginning of his career. The divine presence within each of us is both the center and the circumference of our real being. It is the infinite presence that inhabits eternity and finds a dwelling place in our own consciousness. We recognize it as the only authority there is. We know we are one with it and in it, for there is no separation from it. Our own consciousness is the very depth and heights of its being and is one with all there is. There's an infinite self-knowingness which we call the Spirit. It is ruled by law and impelled by love. Each of us is an individual center in it, without being an individual separate from it. We are rooted in the one which produces limitless variety. That's all of us. God is uniquely individual and uniquely personal to each one of us. Love those words. I love what it says, that who we are is the divine made manifest. That has always been the truth. And it is the truth regardless if we know this truth or if we keep ignoring it. And so the question then really becomes, what do I want to do with this? How do I go about disciplining my thoughts? Practice, practice, practice. Get together with people who are interested in the same things, of lifting each other up, of bringing love and peace, more harmony and joy into our individual lives. Connect. And come from that place where we know our own value. I see nodding heads. Yes, yes, yes. If we say yes, the divine steps in. I am so grateful you are on this journey with me. Giving each other the space to do our individual work, lifting each other up, loving each other up. And so it is. And we have one of those opportunities for practice. So I invite all of the licensed practitioners of this teaching, every reverend in the house, to please rise up, stand. As we take a stand for this truth, that there is one power, one presence, that the divine is right here. It's the beauty in every sunset. It is the love that we see in the beloved who resides in the center of our being. So we're allowing our consciousness to drop into the place of the Most High in the very center of who we are. We recognize it includes me. For I am. As we open our hearts, we recognize that it has always been this way. This is the eternal truth of life. The eternal loving kindness of sweet Spirit has poured itself onto us for eternity. The gracious givingness of that which is greater than we are has always, always just waited for our yes. And so we say yes. Yes to more love. Yes to more aliveness. Yes to more authentic expression of who I am. And we naturally feel gratitude bubbling up from that place deep within us. Thankfulness for realizing this truth, for being aware of our wholeness. And as we see it for ourselves, we can see it for every person. And so with an overflowing heart and so much gratitude, we simply place this word into universal law, the law that always says yes, yes, my beloved. As we prepare ourselves to go even deeper, we simply let it be. And so it is.